You're listening to the smooth sounds of W. Jim and Justin. At 10 and 8 Monday through Friday is the time I turn my radio to 101.5. Like a treat for my ears and mind, since 2012 made me laugh and made me cry. Kate the Duchess puts a smile on our face. She rules over style, sassiness, and grace. Sir William, you're an awesome dude. I kinda wanna build a statue of you. And what I'm really needing now in this local Huntley town is the only show around about people helping people. And now it's time to kick it off. Jim and Justin say to all ladies and gents, we present It's Two Gingers. Make it live tonight till the comedy and community collide. Enjoy the laughter, enjoy the ride. It's Two Gingers.
It's two
Gingers.
Ow! Good day.
Oh, yeah.
And welcome.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Sir William.
Or if this is your first time, just welcome.
Hey! It's a special day in the neighborhood.
You know why?
Why?
You're listening to Two Gingers on 101.5 FM or HuntleyCommunityRadio.com, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. and 8 p.m.
It's a little harsh,
Big
don't you think?
drums on that. Big drums.
What song is that?
Enter Sandman.
Played by...
Metallica.
Okay, so we didn't really recap the fact that I went to see the Pink concert a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, how did we miss that?
I know, but here's the thing. So I loved every second of it. If she comes to your town, pay the money, go see her.
It's a must-see.
It is a must-see. I brought Tiffers from Canada, who, you know, likes her music, but isn't like head over heels in love with Pink like I am. Mm-hmm. She left a super fan. I mean, she puts on such a fantastic concert, but in the middle of it, she totally covered Nirvana Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fun.
It was wild.
Crazy.
Yeah. The other thing that was really funny, you know, she has on her new album, Beautiful Trauma, she has this song called Revenge, and it features Eminem in the middle. And she brought out this huge blow-up puppet of him, of Eminem. It was hilarious.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, it was massive. It was like the size of a building. Like, it was so funny. I really thoroughly enjoyed every...
My name is...
My name is...
Slim Shady.
Yeah, so if you are able to, I highly recommend. I mean, I know tickets are expensive. I know they are. I'm telling you, this one, hands down, I will see her again and again and again.
Wow. All right.
Thoroughly enjoyed
You heard it here first.
Shazam. So, Sir William, do you have a little intro for me?
Now it is time for your favorite segment, hashtag this and hashtag that.
No.
I do.
It says hashtag this, hashtag
I
that.
know. And then
It's not really what you meant.
And then I never went back to write them.
Oh.
Yeah. So, do you have any this or that?
Do I have any other intro music for you?
Yeah, like what happens on Thursdays stays on Thursdays.
How about that?
Oh, thank you. Audition with the Duchess.
By the way, just to clarify things, if things were to go south, I also have this.
It's time to play Zoomondo.
Thank you.
It's a circus here on Two Gingers.
Ooh, what's happening? You know, it is Friday Junior, so it's getting a little bit cuckoos. But yes, let's talk with a little hot bass about our children. Okay?
All right, let's talk about them. specifically or in general? Oh boy.
Here's the thing.
A look is worth 1,000 words.
I've been thinking a lot about the future of our children recently and reading a lot of different articles. And, we had major debates happening over there at the HO, aka Huntley Opinions.
Yes, we did.
I came across this really great post, and I am going to share it with all of you. Talking about why are kids impatient, bored, friendless, and entitled.
Okay.
You and I often talk about, things were just different when we were growing up, because they were.
Right.
It was a simpler time for certain things. It wasn't for other things. We really were forced to figure things out on our own, especially when it came to entertainment, right?
Sure.
And that's partly why we were able and forced to just play outside and to go figure it out. And maybe that does have something to do with how we are now as adults. Maybe it doesn't, but this is going to raise the question. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is how kids today get everything they want when they want it, right? So I'm hungry. In a second, I'll stop it through a drive-thru. I'm thirsty. Okay, here's a vending machine. I'm bored. Okay, here's my phone. We've all fallen into this trap. All of us.
Right.
I'm not sitting here preaching like I've never said these things. The ability to delay gratification is one of the key factors for future success. So we have the best intentions to make our child super happy, but unfortunately we make them happy for right then and there, just that moment, and miserable in the long term. So to be able to delay gratification means to be able to function under stress. And that's the one thing that we're taking away from them by giving it to them right away. Our children are gradually becoming less equipped to deal with even minor stressors, which eventually become huge obstacles in their success in life. So the inability to delay gratification is often seen in classrooms, at the mall, in restaurants, toy stores, etc., when a child hears no because the parents have taught their kid's brain to get what they want right away. And when they don't, you see the major flip outs and the kicking and the screaming, and then the parents just crumble and say, okay, and, go to whatever is going to make the kid appease the child. But this article, and what the conversation that you and I are having here today, is saying, like, these things are okay. It's okay to have your kid, quote unquote, cry it out a little bit, right? To be a little bit uncomfortable.
Right.
I'll go on. The next one is limited social interaction. So yes, we're all busy and we give our children digital gadgets and make them busy too. So kids used to play outside like you and I, where in unstructured natural environments, they learned and practiced social skills. Unfortunately, technology replaced all of the outdoor time. Also, technology made the parents less available to socially interact with their child. Obviously, our kids fall behind. The babysitting gadget is not equipped to help kids develop social skills. So most successful people have great social skills. This needs to be a priority. So we talk often here on our show about limiting screen time, limiting video game time, and things like that. And this is a prime example of it. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I'm starting to look at things through just a different lens.
Yeah.
Because there's got to be some good at the end of the day with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
And when you fast forward kids into, the group that's known as millennials now, I almost see like there's millennials and then there's little kids.
Yeah.
I know technically they are millennials, but, you know, they're not acting in that way. When we talked about the stuff on Huntley Opinions, the walkout, stuff like that, there are some things that are definitely encouraging me about that group of kids
Totally.
in terms of the way that they're like standing up and bonding and stuff. This walkout, as an example, does not happen, does not get the force that it got behind it, does not actually get laws changed in America if not for social media. If
I know.
not for the way the kids are all
You're right.
communicating
You're absolutely right.
at 300 miles an hour. So, yes, I totally agree. But I'm starting to wonder if it's all bad or it's just so different than what we're used to because we didn't have it.
It's not all bad. And here's an example. So the brain is a muscle that is trainable and retrainable. Okay, so if you want your child to be able to ride a bike, you teach them the biking skills that they need. If you want your child to be able to wait, you need to teach your child patience. If you want your child to be social, you need to teach them the social skills. So the same applies with all of the other skills. There is no difference. So it's just, maybe it's how we train them to be social outside of the screen.
And I totally agree with that, but again, looking through the different lens, technology has not only forced them to become less patient, we're less patient too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, have you found yourself going to McDonald's to get something for your
Never,
child?
but yes.
To get something for your child
Yeah.
because you didn't have time
Right.
to make something. And then you get there, and instead of waiting the typical 45 seconds, you're forced to pull up to one of the slots, and you have to wait like a minute and a half, and you get aggravated by it because you're in a hurry.
Right.
You know, I mean, we've lost all sense of, like, you can order in advance now, and it's bagged up and ready by the time you get there. I see people going into Starbucks every day, walking in, walking out. It's
Right.
just their cup's ready to go.
They're ready to go.
Paid
I
for
know.
it with the app.
I know.
So I think as a society, that's the only thing I'm saying. I totally agree with you. We do need to teach our kids to be more patient, as just using one of the things that you brought up.
Yeah.
But how do we teach our kids anything? It's not by talking to them about it necessarily. It's about them watching us and mimicking us.
Totally.
And if we're not doing that,
Right.
because we're sucked in by the instant gratification of a tweet.
Right.
And believe me, like the other day, I found myself, total side note, but I found myself trying to watch what was happening in the NFL with all the free agent signings, and I'm hitting refresh on Twitter. And then after about a half hour, I'm like, what am I doing?
Right.
Like, I'll be able to read about this an hour from now.
Right.
I don't need to know
Right
before everyone else knows.
I know. That's why it drives me crazy when people, not naming any names, Sir William, have all of the push notifications. You don't need to know every time I have liked a picture on social media. Like,
Right.
that does not need to come across your phone to distract you from other things. There's just not. I can understand that you want the CNN top stories to come across your phone. Fine, I will give you that. But for people who have all of the push notification, whatever, we're getting off topic a little bit because I want to continue. Because I want to make sure that we go through this whole list.
All right.
The next one is endless fun. We have created an artificial fun world for our children. There are no dull moments. The moment is when it becomes quiet, we run to entertain them because otherwise we feel that we're not doing our parental duty. We live in two separate worlds. We live their fun world and then we live our work world. Why aren't children helping us in the kitchen or helping us with the laundry? Why don't they help tidy up the toys? This is basic, monotonous work that trains the brain to be workable and function under boredom, which is the same muscle that is required to be eventually teachable at school. And when they come to school and it is time for handwriting, their answer is, I can't. It's too hard. It's too boring. Why? Because the workable muscle is not getting trained enough through the endless fun. It's getting trained through work. So this one really hit home to me. because I grew up in a household where if it was quiet, there was a problem. Not in this form that, everything always had to be fun, but there was always something, like there was always music happening or something. If it was quiet, and now I find my home doing the same thing. You walk into my house, there's always something. You'll either hear music or you'll hear TV from some room, like something's always going. But is that good? Probably not if you're looking at it through this lens, but I do believe that there need to be some dull moments in these kids' lives. There has to be.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just want to say to this thing about the handwriting, which I think is a phenomenal example of this.
Right.
I think the bigger problem that it's too hard or too boring, the bigger problem than the kids saying that, because yeah, when you look at the 300 miles an hour they're going and everything else, it is too hard and too boring. However, I think the problem is we're saying okay and letting them move to the next thing.
Yes.
Whereas some of the things that
work
we
through
learn,
it, and
it's math facts.
Right.
I remember something as simple as that, like learning those things, and it was practice. I mean, you just go over it until it's memorized, and now it's like second nature. And some people did that well, and some people did other things well, but like handwriting, same thing. Like you just got to do it. I have a feeling these kids learn how to do it in school, do it once, and don't have to do it anymore. Because there's really, but then you have to look at it too. Like back in the day, you had to have neat handwriting to survive as an adult or in the workplace. You don't today.
Right.
At all.
Right.
So
handwriting is a whole other topic.
That could be a show. That could be a week of show.
Seriously. Technology. Okay, so using technology basically as a free babysitting service. In fact, it's not free at all. The payment is waiting for you just around the corner. We pay with our kids' nervous systems, with their attention, their ability for delayed gratification. Compared to virtual reality, everyday life is boring. When kids come to the classroom, they are exposed to human voices and adequate visual stimulation as opposed to being bombarded with graphic explosions and special effects that they are used to seeing on the screen. So after hours of virtual reality, processing information in a classroom becomes increasingly challenging for our kids because their brains are getting used to high levels of stimulation that the video games provide. The inability to process lower levels of stimulation leaves kids vulnerable to academic challenges. Technology also disconnects us emotionally from our children and our families. Parental emotional availability is the main nutrient for our child's brain. So unfortunately, we are gradually depriving our children of that nutrient.
Yeah, and I guess, even in the D158, we get our kids on
here's your
Chromebook in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Now there's good and there's bad.
Right.
I mean, this is the bad of it, but there's good stuff too. And maybe what we need to look at going forward is a Chromebook technology is going to help you learn more faster.
Yeah.
And your brains expand more and stuff, but let's not lose sight of these social emotional things.
Correct.
And maybe the whole paradigm of teaching has to shift into focusing on that versus this.
Kids are ruling the world.
Isn't that a song? By Tears for Fears. All
Everybody
the kids
wants to rule the world.
I thought it was the kids rule.
My son doesn't like vegetables. She doesn't like to go to bed early. He doesn't like to eat breakfast. She doesn't like toys, but she's very good at her iPad. He doesn't want to get dressed all on his own. She's too lazy to eat on her own. This is what we hear from parents all the time. Since when do children dictate to us how to parent them? When did that switch happen, Sir William?
I don't know. I used to blame it on both parents being in the workplace and not enough parental interaction in the home. But I don't think it's that anymore. I mean, in your house, you're home all the time. In my house, both my wife and I are home all the time. And yet I have this.
Yeah.
Hugely.
No. If we leave it all up to them, all they're going to do is eat macaroni and cheese or bagels, watch TV, play on their tablets, and never go to bed. What good are we doing by giving them what they want when we know it's not good for them? Without proper nutrition and a good night's sleep, our kids come to school irritable, anxious, inattentive. In addition, we send them the wrong message. They learn that they can do whatever they want and they don't need to do what they don't want. The concept of need to do is absent. Unfortunately, in order to achieve our goals in our lives, we have to do what's necessary, which may not always be what we want to do. So, for example, if a child wants to be an A student, he needs to study hard. If he wants to be a successful soccer player, he needs to practice. Our children know very well what they want, but have a hard time doing what is necessary to achieve the goal. This results in unattainable goals and leaves kids disappointed. Case in point.
This show is going to spawn like 12 more shows.
I know it is.
For sure.
Case in point. Big and Little Mama started to learn how to play the guitar this year together, okay? And listen, sometimes you need to find the right teacher, you need to find the right space, whatever the case may be, right? Sometimes it's not just right out of the gate. So they took a little break, and now they've both decided that they want to go back to it, but they're going to go a different route. Instead of going to a classroom like they did before, they're going to try the millennial way. They're going to try to go and use some YouTube videos. I think this is a great idea. Well, Little Mama announces the other night, it's not that she doesn't want to know how to play the guitar, so she just doesn't want to practice. And this is a common theme across the board. Because we're in the society that everything is now. See, nobody is seeing all of the hard work. When you and I were growing up, we watched our parents and our grandparents and great-grandparents have to beg, borrow, steal, and bust their butts to get to where they were. Now we turn on the TV and American Idol is making people millionaires.
Or Bitcoins are making people millionaires.
Right.
Talk about for doing nothing with nothing.
Yeah.
That's just a concept that's making people billionaires.
Right.
Yeah, again, whole nother show. I don't know. Go. You move to the
You know
next.
what? I can't, because this will actually... I'm going to pause this, and we're going to put this onto next week about, like, okay, so now we know what the problem is. What do? We're going to pause this and talk about this next time, because it is an important conversation. And I'm not... Please understand, when I'm saying this to you, I'm in this with you as a parent. I'm trying to do my best just as much as the next person. I'm not sitting here in an ivory tower trying to dictate that you're doing everything wrong. Don't misunderstand that. What I'm saying, though, is we are living in a different time. We do have to figure this out, because I don't want my child to go off to college and not be able to hold a conversation with their professor. But at the same time, I don't want her to be left behind because I didn't allow enough screen time or something. There's boundaries to everything, and there's give and take to all of this. But I agree. Let's let them be aboard a little bit. They have to have some losses with some of their wins. You need to learn how to pick yourself back up when things don't go your way, and put yourself back on track to get ahead. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
You have to, there's tons of quotes, and there's even quotes, people can tell you from the Bible, and I see quotes all the time all over Pinterest talking about without the tears, you can't have the smiles, right? You won't truly be happy unless you do have some setbacks, and you can understand that there's a difference between the high and the low. So kids need to feel both ways. It's okay for them to not get a trophy for just completing something.
Right. There's a couple just quick points I want to add to what you were saying. Number one, I think, and this will probably be a good jumping off point in a next show that we do, is I think one of the things that we can do and have to do is look at it's different now. Everything is different than it was before. There was some commonalities between how we grew up and how our parents grew up. It was different. It's going to be different every generation.
Yeah.
But it was common. There were some commonalities. Now it is totally different.
Yeah.
You can take any facet of a child's life today. Take school. They're not using textbooks and having somebody lecture them.
Right.
We experienced that. Our parents experienced that.
Right.
You know, it's totally different now.
Yeah.
Which means, as a teacher, it's a totally different ball game.
Right.
You know, you're totally like looking at different things. So once we realize that it's all different and that cascades through their whole life, like for instance, you talked about you want your child to go to college and to be able to have a face-to-face communication with the professor. Maybe they don't have to.
I know.
It might be
that's
different
the
and they
scary
don't
part.
have to.
I know.
Maybe
but
there won't be college professors at that point. You know, I mean, you just have to be like open to stuff. The other thing I want to point out is, and this goes back to the being bored thing, but maybe we're all guilty of having our kids involved in way too many things.
Totally.
And not having them get really good at a few
One
things. One thing.
Right.
Or two things. I mean, when they're younger, you got to do a bunch of things to sift through like what they like, what they gravitate towards, and all that kind of thing. But I don't know. So much to talk about.
So much to
little
talk
time.
about. I know. We will pause this convo and we will be back tomorrow with a brand new one.
Stay classy.
Bye-bye.
Two Gingers is written, hosted, and produced by Sir William Guerin and the Duchess Kate Curtin. Post-production is done by Jim Carolla. Michael Guerin is executive producer emeritus. Two Gingers is broadcast in the Al Litwin studio at Dikey Park in Huntley, Illinois. The show broadcasts Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. on 101.5 Huntley Community Radio, WHRU-LP. HCR's executive producer is Alan Pollock. Thank you for tuning in.